Hi, hey there, I'm Jenn Rice, and I wanted to come in today and talk about what does your brain health and gut health have to do with helping with your acne and breakouts. There probably isn't a week that goes by that I don't receive some type of messenger, Voxer, something along that line that is a friend of mine who's going through, there's like a breakout on the lower face, or all of a sudden shooting a picture of new acne, some of these deep, more painful, cystic-like eruptions, and they're like, what is going on? Maybe they're using amazing skincare already, and they're super happy with what they're using at home, but for whatever reason, there's still this underlying inflammation that is coming out. So I thought it would be helpful to share a little bit about where that inflammation is coming from. And I think one of the best things for us to look at is a story that Dr. Mark Hyman shared, which was when he was 36 years old and he was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, he began to get acne. Never in his life had he had acne before. And he was thinking, why is this happening? Well, we know when we have inflammation in the body and we start getting out of balance. So meaning like our microbiome, which lines all of our gut, when it kind of gets out of whack, things don't work like they should. Things leak through that should be staying inside as nutrients, and then other things go through that shouldn't, which cause inflammation, and our body can only keep up with so much. And so he was saying at the time when he was 36, he started to get this acne. He had sort of gray, like grayness to his face overall, and so definitely some rashes that were occurring around the eyes from allergies, or he wasn't even sure what. And just overall, you know, he was trying to use these topical medications. I know I've written thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of prescriptions for creams and gels and antibiotics and hormones and all of that through my practice in dermatology. But when we look at it from a functional medicine approach, what can we actually do to help our skin be the best it can be, and to also prevent these sort of weird rashes, these breakouts of acne that are more like deep, painful, almost cystic-like. And so one thing we can absolutely do is to begin to work on our overall gut health and our brain health. And I want to share a little bit about why healing our gut is the answer to this inflammation. So basically, in order to talk about healing the gut, we have to talk just a couple minutes about oxidized stress, which is basically where, you know, we have these cells all throughout our body. In every cell, we have multiple mitochondria. Mitochondria are like the workhorse of a cell. So if you think about them, there's like thousands of these guys in there creating energy. They're taking in oxygen, taking in, they're taking the calories that you eat, they're converting it, using oxygen, and they're making energy so that the body works the best it can. And so they're also up against these free radicals, and almost like, if you call it like exhaust, right, or pollution in our body, which comes in all different forms. Obviously, it can be environment, it can be medications, it can be what we eat. So it can only keep up with neutralizing these free radicals. And I did a video a while back, I think, on my personal page on free radicals and how that works. But to kind of sum it up, we only can neutralize so much that comes through. So when we are maybe eating a certain way or drinking a certain way, it's going to have a big effect on how well these cells perform. And are we taking the supplements we should be taking? Are we getting enough nutrients to the food we're eating? You know, these are all things we could talk about. So with this oxidative stress is where they talk about the gut, brain, skin axis. And this is something that has been studied quite a bit, and there are dermatologists that are on board with using something like probiotics to really help stabilize the gut flora and to help to prevent these acne eruptions. Some people will find it happening on the back, other people on the chest, face, or sometimes all three. And a lot of times it's not just like, well, you know, Jen, I haven't been eating a lot of dairy and I'm still having breakouts. I'm using a great skincare, and every once in a while I still have something come to the surface. And a lot of this can be linked to hormones too, but if we're doing the best we can to help with our gut health and brain health, it's going to help our skin as well. So we know that, you know, anxiety and stress overall I can't bring this up. I'm not just going to shoot a video and say that you guys just stop eating sugar and dairy and all is going to be good, because there's a huge component we're missing here when it comes to offloading our stress and anxiety. So when we have a lot of stress and anxiety, we can actually increase that intestinal permeability that happens. So normally you might have, so this is your gut, and you've got these tight membranes, right? When everything's really healthy. Well, when things aren't so healthy, there's like this leakiness that happens, and you're getting nutrients that are like passing out through the GI tract into the circulatory system that aren't supposed to be there. And then there's other things coming in that aren't. So this contributes to absolutely to how our skin looks. So the number one thing we can do, I want to talk about the 4 R's that we talk about in functional medicine, which is remove, replace, re-inoculate, and repair. And a lot of this has to do with probiotics and some other vitamin supplements, and also getting that through your foods as well. So let's talk about probiotics first, because I think that might be a good place to start. And even some of the leading dermatologists that are working on probiotics talk about the lactobacilli rhamnosus. Don't even ask me to say this correctly, but it's the S19 or SP1, something like that. So I'll type it out because who knows what the heck it says. But there's a specific lactobacillus microbe that they've been looking at that is very helpful for skin health. And oftentimes a lot of the stores are bringing out probiotics. It's just you want to kind of read through the labels. So I'll type in the comments certain ones that were cited in these different studies. But I think starting somewhere is better than nowhere. So a reputable company making a clean probiotic. I actually take a soil-based probiotic. It may or may not be something that you can find locally. I do get mine through a supplement company, which I'm happy to share with you if you want to reach out to me about that. So other things that we can do is vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D. I don't know if it's good enough anymore to just take a multivitamin and call it fine through our 30s and 40s and 50s and so on, because we're probably not getting quite the daily allowance that we need to. And we can try to get some through the food, but it's not always going to happen. So we're looking at replacing vitamin A, C, E, vitamin D, and zinc. And zinc is a big one, as well as the omega-3 fatty acids. So if you're not a salmon eater or a fish, someone that likes fish, you're probably going to have to supplement with some omega-3 fatty acids, which can be really helpful. And when it comes to eating, we're looking at really colorful fruits, lots of vegetables, definitely filling your plate with vegetables. Organic is the ideal, and eating foods in their most natural state. So this was something I was kind of like, does that really make a difference? But after I thought about it for a while, I kind of thought it does make sense. The less the food is handled, probably the more nutrients will be, innately to that. So if you're looking for phytonutrients, meaning like nutrients that naturally occur in these fruits, vegetables, animal sources, the less handled, probably the more intact that is. So you want to look at things like, I don't know, let's just take an oyster, for example. I mean, that is in its normal state when we eat it, unless, of course, you're having it broiled and they put whatever, oyster Rockefeller or whatever they put on it, right? But when you're looking at, oysters or shrimp or fish, beef is kind of like, because it's not, there's quite a bit of handling to get to where we want it to be. And the more I sit in the functional medicine office, the more I hear not eating red meat more than twice a month. which is a good probably goal for me to start shooting for, because I do tend to eat it a little bit more often than that. So with the vegetables, you know, look for organic vegetables. I know they're a little bit more expensive, and then make sure that you're also using a wash to kind of wash off anything that might be on the vegetables, and then doing the sauteing with, you know, olive oil, coconut oil. I mean, not usually, if olive oil has a lower, you don't want to cook high with olive oil, because then it can release things. So you want to make sure, if you're going to cook something high and you got to get it done fast, you want to use something else. But if you're just doing a slow simmer with things, the olive oil is fine. You can use coconut, avocado oil, and that can also get you some of those nice, the good fats that we always talk about. So the first thing to look for is a good probiotic. And like I said, if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to share with you the one that I take that is soil-based. We talked about the vitamins that you might need to supplement, and looking at, if you already are purchasing vitamins somewhere, maybe look at the concentration of different things. You're looking for your A, the D, the E, the C, and then zinc is another big one, which I recently started taking zinc and magnesium, because I know that we get low on these minerals. So I hope this is helpful. I think that when we really embrace the fact that everything we eat and drink, obviously we know we're tossing out the sugars and any dairy, but these other things can be really helpful to reset your gut and then restore with the probiotic, and your skin ideally will be you'll be seeing those benefits from doing those things. So I hope you guys got value from this video today. If you did, please consider sharing it. I think it can be really helpful. I know I get a lot of messages about, why am I breaking out? I'm doing everything right. And I think there's a few extra steps we can do every day to really help that. So I appreciate you guys. If you like this content too, feel free to share my page with other people. I'll be coming on usually once a week to do a little bit more in depth. I do go live on my personal page with quicker trainings. This one was a little bit more in depth. And if you like this content, I am launching my second 14-day challenge, Intro to Anti-Inflammatory Lifestyle. It's a 2-week challenge that kind of takes you through the 6 pillars of health. And I think earlier when I mentioned handling stress and anxiety better is going to be absolutely key to really making anything, whether it's acne, any skin condition, better. You need to dive into stress management, anxiety management, all of that. So if that's of interest to you, you can check out the link that I'll post below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great weekend.